In the 80s, Australia had something special. Cars that looked like your neighbor's daily driver but could absolutely embarrass sports cars at the lights. No flash, no noise, just hidden performance. These are the 10 Australian sleeper cars of the 1980s, starting with a car that absolutely nobody expected to be quick. The Camira was designed as a sensible family sedan for reliable transport without drawing attention, conservative styling, practical proportions, nothing that would turn heads. But the SLX variant with the fuel-injected 2.0-liter Family 2 engine and manual gearbox delivered around 84 kilowatts. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour took around 10 seconds, quick enough to surprise drivers who assumed it was just another slow Camira. The fuel injection gave crisp throttle response, while front-wheel drive meant decent traction off the line. The manual gearbox made it feel more willing than automatic versions. Build quality could be hit or miss, and its quiet looks made it easy to overlook. But that's exactly why it deserves its spot here. The Camira SLX thrived in plain sight. After the understated Camira, the next sleeper takes things much more seriously. The Ford Laser TX3 Turbo. The Laser looked like any typical small hatchback. Clean lines, modest proportions, everyday styling that wouldn't raise an eyebrow. But Ford had something clever hidden in the TX3 package. A turbocharged 1.6-liter engine producing around 97 kilowatts and 185 newton-meters of torque, sending power to all four wheels. This combination was devastating. The TX3 Turbo could hit 100 kilometers per hour in around 8 seconds, properly quick for the late 80s from something that looked basic. The all-wheel drive gave it traction that embarrassed expensive rear-wheel drive sports cars, while the turbo engine delivered a punch that caught people off guard. What really worked was its sleeper credentials. It looked like something your mum would drive, but could genuinely embarrass V8s. The handling was a bit nose-heavy, and turbo lag was noticeable, but that quiet nature is exactly why it earns its place. Following the Pocket Rocket TX3, we moved to something that took the conservative family sedan formula and added genuine punch. The Mazda 626 Turbo. The 626 wore sensible styling that made it disappear in traffic. It looked like every other mid-size family sedan, clean but utterly forgettable. But Mazda slipped in something special with the turbocharged variant, a 2.0-liter turbocharged four-cylinder producing around 100 kilowatts. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour came in around 9 seconds. Genuinely quick for a family sedan in the mid-80s, especially one that looked this ordinary. The smooth power delivery made it comfortable over long distances, while the turbo gave it a surge that surprised drivers expecting nothing more than a casual cruiser. It blended everyday practicality with sleeper potential perfectly. Comfortable suspension kept the ride civilized, but a confident throttle push revealed hidden muscle. They're rare today, which only amplifies their sleeper appeal. Moving from the quirky Mazda, we land on something that often gets overlooked entirely, the Toyota Corona Twin Cam in its later Australian-delivered specification. The Corona had been around for years as the ultimate conservative family sedan, reliable, practical, boring. But in the later 80s, some Australian-delivered Coronas came with the twin-cam 3 SGE engine, and suddenly this conservative sedan had genuine bite. The 3 SGE produced around 93 kilowatts, which in the lightweight Corona body made for surprisingly spirited performance. Thanks to the free-revving twin-cam engine, it could hit 100 kilometers per hour in around 9.5 seconds, enough to surprise drivers expecting nothing more than typical Toyota transport. The engine's linear response and willingness to rev made it a joy to wind through the gears, while the balanced chassis delivered a composed ride for everyday driving and the occasional spirited blast. Visually, it played it completely cool. Clean lines, subtle badging, family sedan silhouette. Most people just saw another Corona and moved on. It lacked hardcore performance of dedicated sports cars, but that's exactly what makes it charming. A stealthy performer that left people guessing. If you are enjoying the video so far, subscribe if you want. It means a lot to me. After all that four-cylinder business, let's talk about something with more displacement. The Ford Falcon XF with the 5-speed manual and 4.1 EFI engine. Most people hear XF and think taxi. Boxy, conservative styling, plain wheels, the general air of being a workhorse. But spec an XF with the fuel-injected 4.1-liter inline-6 and 5-speed manual, and you had something that could genuinely move. The 4.1 EFI produced around 93 kilowatts and 267 newton-meters of torque. That torque figure meant strong, effortless acceleration from low revs. The manual gearbox let you make the most of it, and the XF's relatively light weight meant it felt quicker than the numbers suggested. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour came in around 10 seconds. Respectable for a big sedan, delivered with Ford's trademark durability and that wonderful Australian 6-cylinder smoothness. The XF's understated looks worked perfectly as camouflage. It looked like every other fleet car or taxi, which meant nobody expected it to keep up when you dropped a gear. It wasn't agile, and fuel economy was ordinary. But it's about that smooth 6-cylinder torque and the satisfaction of surprising people in something utterly ordinary. Moving from the big Ford 6 to something with 8 cylinders, but the same understated approach. The plain Holden VK 5.0 Commodore. Not the Brock Special, not the SLE with badges and body kit, just a regular VK sedan or wagon with the 5.0-liter V8 ticked on the options list. The 5.0-liter Holden V8 produced around 127 kilowatts and 330 newton-meters of torque. Genuine muscle, but in a plain VK with hubcaps and no identifying badges, nobody had a clue. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour came in around 9 seconds, properly quick for the mid-80s. But more than acceleration, it was the effortless V8 torque that made these special. The beauty of it was its complete lack of pretense. It looked like your uncle's company car. Beige paint, vinyl seats, AM radio. Then you'd plant your foot and hear that V8 rumble. Handling was typical mid-80s Commodore, soft and wallowy. Fuel economy was terrible. But for those in the know, this car was a true sleeper. Sliding away from the understated V8 Commodore, we land on a car that wore a legendary badge but flew under the radar in Australia, the locally built Nissan Skyline R31 GTS. Before the Skyline name became synonymous with performance globally, the R31 was just another mid-sized sedan here, built locally using local content, often dismissed as nothing special. But the GTS variant packed Nissan's brilliant RB30 straight 6, producing around 114 kilowatts and 247 newton meters of torque. It could hit 100 kilometers per hour in around 9 seconds. Its silky refinement made it a joy to drive, while independent rear suspension gave it handling balance many local cars couldn't match. Visually, the R31 played it cool, clean, understated Japanese styling, without aggressive flares or spoilers. It looked like a normal mid-size sedan. Today they're starting to gain recognition, but back then, just another Japanese sedan that happened to be surprisingly quick. After the Japanese sophistication of the R31, we moved to something that looked completely unremarkable but packed a genuine surprise. The Mitsubishi Sigma Turbo. The Sigma was peak 1980s conservative styling, boxy, practical, thoroughly ordinary. The car-sensible families bought for reliable transport, but Mitsubishi offered a turbocharged version with the 2.0-liter Astron engine, and suddenly, this boxy sedan had genuine performance credentials. The turbocharged Astron produced around 100 kilowatts and 220 newton-meters of torque in the lightweight body that delivered genuinely surprising performance. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour came in around 9 seconds. What made the Sigma Turbo special was how completely it flew under the radar. Nobody expected the boxy Mitsubishi to be quick, but for those who knew, the Sigma Turbo was a genuine sleeper. Moving away from the small turbos and understated sedans, we now look at something with serious muscle hiding behind a very subtle exterior. After the aggressive styling of earlier GT Falcons, this one took a completely different approach. Very clean lines, minimal badging, no wild body kit. It looked like a slightly nicer regular Falcon. But under the bonnet sat the legendary 351 Cleveland V8, producing around 168 kilowatts and 434 newton-meters of torque. Serious muscle wrapped in conservative sheet metal. Thanks to that massive torque, the ESP could hit 100 kilometers per hour in around 7.5 seconds, genuinely quick for the early 80s from something that looked this restrained. The ESP's beauty was its subtlety, where earlier GTs screamed performance. The ESP just quietly got on with being fast. Most people had no idea what they were looking at. After all the V8s and subtle performers, we come to the ultimate Australian sleeper of the 1980s. Released in 1986, the VL Turbo packed Nissan's turbocharged straight six, producing around 150 kilowatts and 330 newton-meters. It looked like every other Commodore on the road. It could sprint from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just under 7 seconds. Supercar territory for the 1980s, from something that looked completely normal. What made it legendary was its combination of everyday practicality and genuine performance. Family car during the week, Porsche killer on weekends. The VL Turbo was the ultimate sleeper, a normal-looking Commodore that could genuinely embarrass dedicated sports cars. Which of these sleepers caught you off guard? Let me know in the comments. And if you're loving this dive into Australia's forgotten performance cars, like and subscribe if you want. Thanks for watching.